For weeks, there was silence. Not the ordinary kind. The deliberate kind. The kind that suggests something happened that was never meant to surface. And now, that silence has been shattered. Tan Songyun has reportedly stepped forward, breaking ranks with industry restraint to reveal what truly happened during Dylan Wang and Shen Yue's private midnight beach trip, a meeting that many assumed was romantic, secretive, and carefully hidden from public view. But according to this unfolding narrative, it was not romance that filled the air that night. It was confrontation. The beach, isolated and dimly lit by distant shoreline lights, became the setting for something far more intense than whispers of affection. Sources claim the meeting was arranged urgently. No photographers. No entourage. Just the sound of waves crashing against tension that had been building for months. Tan Songyun's alleged revelation reframes everything. She claims the midnight meeting was not a getaway. It was a reckoning. According to insiders, Dylan arrived first. Restless. Agitated. Pacing along the shoreline as if rehearsing words that refused to settle into clarity. When Shen Yue arrived shortly after, the energy reportedly shifted immediately. There was no embrace. No soft smiles. Only unresolved histories standing face to face. Tan Songyun's account suggests the confrontation centered around unfinished emotions and growing misunderstandings amplified by recent industry rumors. The pressure of speculation had reached a breaking point. Public narratives were spiraling beyond control, and silence was no longer enough to contain the fallout. Witnesses from a distance described raised voices carried faintly by the wind. Not chaotic, but sharp.
Direct. Honest.
Shen Yue allegedly questioned why private matters were becoming public storms. Why silence was being interpreted as confirmation. Why emotional boundaries were being blurred by outside pressure. Dylan, according to the narrative, pushed back. He reportedly expressed frustration at constant scrutiny, at the impossibility of moving forward when every interaction is magnified, at the weight of expectations placed on them by fans and media alike. The confrontation intensified, not with hostility, but with truth. Tan Songyun claims this was the first time both addressed everything without filters. The misunderstandings, the lingering attachments, the professional strain, the fear of public narrative overtaking private reality. And then came the turning point. The waves grew louder as if punctuating the moment when Shen Yue allegedly made it clear that clarity mattered more than perception. That protecting reputation could not come at the expense of emotional honesty. According to the whistleblower account, there was a long pause afterward. The kind that signals realization rather than argument. The midnight meeting did not end in visible reconciliation, but it did end in understanding. Tan Songyun's revelation suggests the beach confrontation was an attempt to regain control, not of romance, but of narrative. To stop rumors from dictating emotions. To prevent speculation from rewriting intentions. Yet the most shocking element is not the confrontation itself. It is why Tan Songyun chose to speak now. Industry analysts believe timing is strategic. Rumors have been escalating. Fan divisions intensifying. By reframing the beach trip as confrontation rather than romance, the emotional temperature shifts dramatically. Instead of secret affection, the story becomes emotional accountability. Instead of hidden love, it becomes necessary closure. But questions remain. Was Tan Songyun protecting someone? Or exposing them? Was the beach meeting truly about ending confusion? Or did it reopen feelings that were never fully resolved? Since the revelation surfaced, fans have revisited every recent interaction between Dylan Wang and Shen Yue. Subtle eye contact, awkward pauses, public distance. Each detail now carries new weight. Because if the midnight beach trip was confrontation rather than romance, then everything changes. It means the story was never about secrecy. It was about resolution. And resolution, when delayed too long, can explode under the quietest skies. The industry tried to contain the narrative. But now the waves have carried it back to shore. And the truth, however complex, is impossible to silence once spoken aloud. The spotlight feels different now. Not warmer. Not romantic. Just exposed. And in that exposure lies the real question. Was this the final chapter between Dylan Wang and Shen Yue? Or merely the calm before an even greater storm? The world is watching. And this time, the silence has already been broken. The wind that night did not sound romantic. It sounded restless. It carried grains of sand across the shore like whispers that refused to stay buried. And standing just a few steps away from the dark water, Dylan Wang did not look like a man on a secret getaway. He looked like a man cornered by the past. Shen Yue stood opposite him, her silhouette sharp against the moonlit waves. There was no softness in her posture, no nostalgia in her eyes. Whatever this midnight beach meeting was, it was not about rekindling love. And somewhere not too far away, Tan Songyun had seen enough to know the truth would explode. Dylan's voice was low but strained. He told Shen Yue he never meant for things to spiral this far. He said the rumors, the whispers, the silent distance between them had grown heavier than he expected. He admitted he had agreed to meet because he was tired of pretending they were strangers in a story that once meant everything. But Shen Yue did not come to reminisce. She came for answers. Her voice cut through the crashing waves as she asked him one question that left no room for escape. Why did you let them believe we were the problem? Dylan's silence stretched longer than the shoreline itself. The industry had painted narratives. Fans had taken sides. Headlines had twisted glances into betrayals. And through it all, neither of them spoke clearly. They let management teams build walls. They let silence become strategy. But that night, Shen Yue refused to be silent. She told him she had protected his image even when it cost her peace. She said she watched as he stood beside others in public, smiling carefully, while she carried the blame privately. She confessed that the hardest part was not losing him. It was losing herself in a story she never agreed to tell. Dylan stepped closer, frustration flickering across his face. He said he thought protecting his career meant protecting both of them. He said he believed distancing himself publicly would shield her from backlash. He insisted he never chose ambition over her. But ambition has a way of speaking louder than intentions. And Shen Yue knew that. The waves grew louder, almost violent, as if the ocean itself rejected half-truths. That was when the real confrontation began. Shen Yue revealed she had seen messages. Not romantic messages. Not scandalous ones. But strategic ones. Conversations about image control. About narrative positioning. About how to frame their distance in ways that would benefit future projects. Her voice trembled, not from sadness, but from anger. You let them turn our memories into marketing. Dylan's composure cracked. He tried to explain the pressure. The contracts. The expectations. The fear of losing everything he built. He admitted he had been scared. Scared of scandal. Scared of financial fallout. Scared of being labeled difficult. But she was tired of fear. She told him love should not feel like crisis management. The confrontation escalated when Dylan finally asked the question he had been avoiding. If I had fought harder, would you still be here? Shen Yue looked at him for a long time. Long enough for the silence to sting. Then she said something that would later echo across social media once Tan Songyun's account went public. You didn't lose me because you failed. You lost me because you hesitated. That line alone would ignite millions of comments. But what Tan Songyun revealed next shocked everyone even more. As the argument reached its peak, Dylan pulled something from his jacket. A small envelope, slightly worn at the edges. He admitted he had written a letter months ago, but never delivered it. A letter where he confessed he regretted letting external voices dictate personal decisions. A letter where he admitted he still cared. Shen Yue did not take it immediately. The ocean breeze threatened to rip it from his hand. Finally, she accepted it. But she did not open it. Instead, she told him some letters arrived too late. And then she turned away. The image of Dylan standing alone by the shoreline, watching her walk back toward the dim lights of the parking area, would later become the most replayed description in Tan Songyun's explosive reveal. According to Tan Songyun, there was no dramatic embrace. No tearful reconciliation. No cinematic kiss. There was distance. Permanent distance. She stated clearly that what happened on that beach was not a secret romance, but a final reckoning. Two people confronting the cost of silence. Two careers colliding with unfinished emotion. But the story did not end there. As Shen Yue reached her car, she paused. For a brief second, she looked back. Not at Dylan, but at the ocean. And Tan Songyun claims that look said everything. It was not longing. It was closure. The following morning, Dylan reportedly canceled 2 appearances. Shen Yue resumed filming as if nothing had happened. Yet insiders whispered that something fundamental had shifted. Because after that night, neither of them fueled speculation anymore. They stopped indirect posts. Stopped ambiguous captions. Stopped carefully timed interactions. They became distant in a way that felt intentional. And that is what truly shook the industry. Not scandal. Not romance. But finality. Tan Songyun's whistleblower-style revelation reframed everything. She insisted the beach meeting was not about rekindling love. It was about ending ambiguity. And now fans are divided. Was Dylan too late? Did Shen Yue protect herself? Or was the industry always the silent third character in their story? One thing is certain. That midnight confrontation by the waves was not scripted. It was raw. It was painful. And it may have been the last time they ever stood alone together, without cameras deciding their narrative. If you think that beach meeting was closure, wait until you hear what surfaced days later about a deleted voice memo that may change everything all over again.